corporate culture? That's a difficult one. I was sitting in my office 8 o'clock in the evening and I knocked at the door. I was surprised, usually nobody knocks in the evening, and a colleague came in and had tears in the eye and said, "I'm sorry, Mr. Heppe, but I resign." And I was shocked because there was a colleague who's doing an excellent job and there was a colleague the company really needs. And I was sitting down and I said, "Why?" And the colleague said, "Because I cannot work in this corporate culture any longer." And we had a long conversation, and luckily after a couple of days, this colleague withdrew the resignation and is still with us today. Nevertheless, it gave me reason enough to think about what is our corporate culture. It boils down to 4 aspects everybody has to look at if he tries to define for himself, how do I see our corporate culture? These are the 4 M's. It is my company, my manager, my team, and who's missing? Myself. We can improve in leadership, create a sense of security for your team. I think that's probably the most important thing on the whole chart. Because if the people that work for you, if they don't feel safe, if they don't feel secure, they will never perform to their natural best. They will just do what is required not to get fired. They will duck, they will not to be on the radar, not to do any mistakes, but they will never have the courage to speak out and come to your office and say, "Boss, I did a mistake. I put this equipment and touched the wall, or something broke." And if we need this, if you are a leader, and we all are leaders in this room, you also need to be vulnerable. That doesn't mean you have to walk around crying, but that means that you create a sense in your team that allows for mistakes, that allows for weakness. Only then the people feel safe, then have the courage to come to you, and then once they feel safe, they perform to their natural best. And this is actually what we want, because we are in the service industry, and our goal number 1 is we focus on the customer with excellence and care. This we can reach when we have people who feel safe. And this is relevant on my level, on the C level with Rosen and Nikolai, but this is also relevant on your level, the department head, and this goes down to the shift leader, to the supervisor, to the team leader, and also to the permanent staff that leads the seasonal staff. Show empathy. The people that work for you, they deserve that their boss is showing empathy. What does it mean, empathy? That means that you truly care for your people, that you're not only saying thank you, that you ask, how are you? How do you feel? Just give you an example from my personal, I was really mad Saturday and Sunday evening. There was a deadline, somebody produced something, this was late, there were mistakes inside. First thing like we're all human beings, so leadership is not easy. First thing you would love to say is, if you do this again, you better look for another job. And if you really want to make it bad, you add some insults, like, I need some people who are competent, who know what they're doing in your position. And if you don't do this, you better look for a new job. Wrong leadership. Have to get your act together and ask, how are you? Is there anything I can do for you to make your job better? Because if you put him under threat, how motivated do you think he will be the next day to learn, to improve, to work up to his natural best? No, not at all. Huh? He just walks around, my boss hates me, he doesn't like my idea, I might get fired. And showing empathy is a good way to create trust. We all have people like, report was full of mistake, was late, but we were obliged by the authorities to deliver. What's going on? Maybe this person who had to create this report, maybe they have problems at home. Maybe there's some health issues, maybe there's some issues with the kids. If you're the boss, try to have an open ear for this, try to figure this out. And obviously you cannot show sympathy with 1,800 people here, but you can show empathy for the people that directly report to you. Because our job as a leader is not being in charge. Our job is to care for the people in our charge, to give them the condition that they perform to their natural best, that they feel safe and secure, that they get the training they need, that they have the equipment they need, and that they have enough courage to come to you and say, boss, with this equipment, I cannot do the job, or I need more training. Express my gratitude to my colleagues. This is what the English ones would call praise. If something is doing a good job, tell him not only thank you, tell him that was a good job. Sincere praise, not just, hey, the world is nice and you're a great guy. Control and observe your people, not to punish, not to find their mistake. Control your people to find reason to praise them. You will be amazed how much energy this sets free and what the people suddenly are able to do. How would you define a leader? What is your personal definition for a leader? You're a leader if you have people who follow you. But there are two different types of leaders. There are leaders who are authorities. People obey to them, people do what they say because they have the authority over them. And there are others, people do it because they want to follow you. They raise their hand, yes, I want to go in the direction that you put, because I also believe in your vision and I trust you. And I don't know when, but I'm sure somewhere between now and 2020, the people that are in your teams, that's my leader, that's my boss. And it's not Mr. Heppe, or it's not Rossen or Nikolai. We are far too far away. You recognize that the people respect you as their leader when they start, that's my boss, that's my leader. Because other people higher in the hierarchy, they are other leaders. They have other people. So let's try to create this circle of safety, circle of security, right from the top down to the seasonal driver, 12 tons, which is only with us for 3 or 4 months, and let him soak up this corporate culture in this company. And when he meets with his colleagues in a pub at night, he says, I love my job. I'm proud to work at this company, and next year I want to come back. And if I go to work in the morning, I really love my job here. And if I go back in the evening, I feel fulfilled, and I'm inspired to come back the next morning. And this should not be a privilege to the CEO. This should not be a privilege to a department head or a deputy department head. That should be possible for each permanent or seasonal loader, aircraft cleaner, X-ray operator, accounting clerk, you name it, everybody of us. And the reason why I loved my job and the reason why I love to come to this company is not the work, is not the salary. It is how I feel to come here. Because I have people around me whom I trust, and I feel they trust me. And I feel if I get sick, they step in for me, and I'm happy to step in for everybody who gets sick. So this sense of mutual support, I think this is what creates fulfillment in the job. And if you are just surrounded by individuals who never experienced this, it's a tough cookie. And loving the job doesn't mean they have to like their job. Obviously, there are days where you don't like your job at all. It's like with my little daughter, Maria Valentina. I love her, but I don't like her every day, especially not when she kicks off the food plate to the floor 3 times in a row and still thinks it's funny. But overall, I love her. Love for the job and fulfillment at work and trust. are feelings. The problem is you cannot instruct feelings. So let us create an environment in which our people feel they belong. Because they have you, great leaders who inspire them. I have a dream, together with all of you, to create something that is much bigger than we are and that lasts longer than all of us will stay with this company. The dream is that 80% or more of our employees, permanent and seasonal, in Burgas and Varna airports say, I love my job and I'm proud to work for Fraport Bulgaria.